So the next technique that we done was arch and flatten, and that's the one where we envisioned having a rolling pin through the hips from right to left. And I really like to encourage you to follow the breath, so begin by tuning into the flow of your breath. We would have yielded first, meaning that connection with the earth and the floor and the surface you're on or your client is on. We would have established that for some time first, and so there'd be that awakening and that surrendering into the earth or the floor. And then starting to notice the breath, noticing where the breath flows in through the nose, down through the center of the being, down, and the awareness is down in your sacrum, pelvis area, and lower back. Noticing the subtle way your body shape shifts to accommodate for the breath, how the breath moves the body in a really subtle way. First of all, you may notice the more evident moves, which is your belly and your chest and your ribs. Both on the in-breath and on the out-breath. And you take your awareness a little more into your sacrum. It's really quite a deep dive of awareness to really feel and notice a subtle, small oscillation that happens when you breathe in your sacrum. And then when you breathe out, and once you start to acknowledge the movement, when you connect with the movement that's already happening, we kind of see it like the breath is like the water on the ocean, the wave on the ocean, and as it flows down, the sacrum is like the boat, and the wave moves the boat. And what you're probably noticing is that when you breathe in, there's this rolling forward of your pelvis, and there's a tilt of your sacrum where the bottom of your sacrum presses down toward the floor. The coccyx bone at the base of your sacrum presses down to the floor. There's a forward roll of the rolling pin in your pelvis, and you'll notice a slight lift in the arch of your back. And equally, when you breathe out, there's a tilting underneath of the pelvis, a rolling back of that rolling pin, and a flattening of your lower back on the floor. Breathing in again, maybe even kind of following that movement and bringing a little more of your own movement into it. Rolling the rolling pin forward, feel the arch in the back. Breathing out, roll the rolling pin back, feel the flatten in your back. This is arch and flatten. Rolling the rolling pin forward as you breathe in, rolling into your arch. Feel that lower back, it will come off the floor ever so slightly. Exhale, tailbone scoops under, squeezing of the front body, back body flattening. Explore this for a bit and notice the whole body. The impact this has on the rest of your connected body. Your spine, your head, your neck, your arms, your shoulders. I gave the analogy of a sea anemone. When you're breathing in, like the whole front body is opening. And when you're breathing out, there's a squeezing in, the whole front body shortening and the back body's lengthening. Breathing in and this opening, even your arms, your shoulders, your whole front body, like the sea anemone opening. And breathing out, there's then a contracting back in, a folding back in. I encouraged you to slow things down, to notice more space, and the importance of doing things differently than we would do in our normal waking life. Because we'll notice new things. We'll affect more change by slowing down and doing things differently. We're working with reprogramming neuromuscular connections. Kind of unlearning, unwinding from patterns of the mind to come back more into somatic awareness, that body wisdom, more the primal knowing. What you might find is sometimes you get a spontaneous pandiculation arise, meaning you might feel a yawn coming on and your body just might like to kind of stretch and squeeze into itself. And I encourage you to really indulge that. It's like another reset, another level of reset, another layer down. And come back into the breath and continue that exploration of your arch and flatten. Feeling wherever the body wants to kind of squeeze and hold for a little bit longer. Then we'll pause to notice what we notice. Another layer that I added to that in preparation for a pelvic circle was the push of the right foot down and feeling the right hip lift, which we likened to the pelvic clock. And then release. Push the left foot down, feel the left hip lift and release, like penduluming between 9 and 3 o'clock on a clock. Right foot push down, the right hip and buttock will lift. Just notice where your head gets drawn toward. Exhale, lower down, let the head follow the rest of the momentum. Again, pandiculation possibly may happen when you're exploring this one. Feel into that. There's no rush to keep the movement going. Follow your body's wisdom, leave space for it to be heard and felt. Pandiculation is those places of you that just want to squeeze into themselves, leaning into tension points. And they emerge from within you. You can explore this for as long as you wish, but for the video purposes, I'm going to pause and feel. And then you can put those two together where you start to generate this more of a pelvic circle. Finding your own flow with the pelvic circle. Letting the whole spine just follow, letting your head follow. Let it kind of be drawn to wherever it naturally, organically does, rather than trying. And be curious about how that is. continuum of your body, your fascia, the connected web that you are. You can make this pelvic circle really small if you wish. And then pause and circle the other direction. You might notice it feels different going one direction than the other, or different from left to right. Just let your brain make a note of that. Where you feel any stuck points, you may like to go into the edge of the stuck points and do tiny micro pulses, micro movement. For as long as you feel intuitively to be there. And continue your way in the pelvic circle just to what feels right. If at any point you need to stop, just come back maybe into the integrative rhythmic rocking. And then take a pause. Let your brain register the change that's taking place, but hold that in stillness. I'm going to add one more dimension to that, which we touched on as well, beads on a necklace, which is kind of like a slow, progressive, modified bridge. And we'll come back to our original arch and flatten, the rolling of the pelvis forward as you breathe in. And this time as you breathe out and scoop the tailbone under, feel the pelvic roll back, the rolling pin roll back, slowly lift your hips and then one vertebra at a time, peeling off the floor like beads on a necklace. Up until modified bridge, and lower that down one vertebra at a time, starting from top to middle to bottom. Continue to roll forward with the pelvis, coming back into your arch, breathing in, breathing out. Scoop tailbone under, the flattening of the spine, and begin to lift your hips in one vertebra at a time. Inhale, lower down. Feel how each vertebra moves relative to the one above and below it. Breathing in, roll the pelvis forward, and maybe even roll your arms out and open your palms. Feel the squeeze in the back body. Exhale, just allow your arms to start to roll in a little bit. Slowly in, tuck the tail, one vertebra at a time. Roll the palms down. Inhale, begin to roll the palms up, lower one vertebra at a time. Continue the roll, roll the pelvis forward, feel the squeeze in the back, the arms roll open. And exhale, reversing that. And if you feel a place in your spine that's kind of a little locked, I'd just say hold it right there at that point and pulse into it. Micro movements. Until you feel to continue the flow. Inhale, lower down, begin to roll the arms open. Everything in the front body opens like the sea anemone. Exhale, everything draws back and rolls back into the front body, and the hips rise, each vertebra. You can continue this for as long as it feels right for you. For the purpose of the video, I'm just going to pause now. So that was arch and flatten, pelvic clock, and beads on a necklace. You don't have to do all of those together. You can do one at a time, one or all of them. You do have a choice, but they fit beautifully together if you have the time.